Before I begin this video, I need to make a disclaimer. The video that you're about to see is loosely inspired by BigJackFilms crossover with HewyToonmore about what it would be like if Disney did a hand-drawn animated feature film based on King Kong. Even though it isn't inspired, but there's nothing about it that was supposed to be offended. If someone gets loosely inspired by their work, they should be appreciated, not trying to be offended or anything like that. So this is a video if Steven Spielberg's Ambilmation produced a hand-drawn animated film, the Kraken, Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken, even though DreamWorks already originated from Ambilmation. So, without further ado, here's the Toon-Man doing a video if Steven Spielberg's Ambilmation did produce Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken in the 1990s. Hello, I'm the Toon-Man. I review good or bad animated movies and animated TV shows. And welcome to Dream Movies. This is where I imagine if one of my favorite animated movies from a current generation is animated by another animated studio from either the early 80s and early 90s, or late 90s too. But with that said, let's talk about one of my most favorite DreamWorks animation movies. Well, maybe not be the best DreamWorks animation movie of all time. Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken.
Look in the mirror, and I'll start to tear up.
Even though it didn't do well at the box office, but at least it did gain a cult following over the years.
Yay?
But with that said, as people continue to hate it, I do love this animated DreamWorks movie with all my heart. I'm hoping that either a sequel of Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken someday called Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken 2, an animated TV series, or even a live-action remake of Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken. Okay, maybe not a live-action remake of Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken, but you get the idea about what I'm trying to say. But Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken is DreamWorks' own mixture between Luca and Turning Red. Like Luca, Ruby Gillman is a teenage anthropomorphic sea monster, or in this case, a human teenage-sized kraken, who blends in with the humans where no one will suspect her. Whoa!
Apologies for the unplanned interruption, folks.
Well, look what the tide dragged in, Davy.
Ahoy, Mr. Captain Gordon Lighthouse, sir.
Aren't you one of them Gilmans?
Guilty!
Well, almost no one.
Like Turning Red, every time that Ruby Gillman is going to unleash a strong emotion such as anger, sadness, and fear, she becomes a giant of a sea beast, simply known as a giant kraken.
Well, at least you do know the chemistry of Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken. Which brings us to today's subject. I would review Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken someday, but in the meantime, let's talk about what it would be like if Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken is produced by Steven Spielberg's Ambilmation instead of DreamWorks Animation. And I know what you're thinking. Why would Steven Spielberg's Ambilmation produce Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken instead of DreamWorks? DreamWorks Animation originated from Ambilmation. Ambilmation closed down in 1997, and Ruby Gillman is released to theaters in 2023. Well, I'll tell you.
If you watch Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken very closely, it does have similarities to the storytelling of an animated movie produced by Ambilmation.
So let's get this started. This is if Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken is produced by Ambilmation. There's too much backstory in Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken, but besides from the original title of the film, Meet the Gillmans, let's talk about the backstory of Ambilmation.
Ambilmation was a British animation studio of Amblin Entertainment. It was founded by writer, producer, and director Steven Spielberg in May 1989 after the box office successes of both American Tail, The Land Before Time with Don Bluth, and Who Framed Roger Rabbit with Robert Zemeckis.
One of the inspirations of Thomas O'Sullivan's Toon World.
Following the successes of all three films, Steven Spielberg planned to collaborate with Don Bluth again to produce a sequel of American Tail. Unfortunately, due to their creative differences, both men parted ways. Because of Don Bluth's departure, Steven Spielberg chose former Disney animator Phil Nibbling and former Richard Williams storyboard artist Simon Wells, the great-grandson of science fiction author E.G. Wells.
Hold on a minute. Simon Wells, the great-grandson of the most famous author of all time, H.G. Wells, who written such classics as The Time Machine, The Invisible Man, and The Island of Dr. Moreau. That's kicks ass!
Morgan! Anywho, both of whom had previously worked with him as supervising animators on Who Framed Roger Rabbit to direct the sequel, simply known as An American Tail, Fievel Goes West, which makes Fievel Mousekewitz the official company mascot of Ambilmation. After the production on An American Tail, Fievel Goes West was wrapping up, both Phil Nibbling and Simon Wells began doing storyboards on We're Back, A Dinosaur Story. Once the animatic for We're Back, A Dinosaur Story was complete in 1991, Steven Spielberg brought in both Phil Nibbling and Simon Wells to direct an animated version of Andrew Lloyd Webber's Cats, which is going to be Ambilmation's third film. After We're Back, A Dinosaur Story, however, production on Andrew Lloyd Webber's Cats was delayed continuously due to Andrew Lloyd Webber's dissatisfaction with the story direction. Andrew Lloyd Webber's Cats was scrapped up until 2019 when both Universal Studios and Amblin Entertainment decided,
Meh, let's put Cats in production and make it live action instead.
Both returned to finish the production of We're Back, A Dinosaur Story. But once again, Simon Wells left the project to direct Balto, leaving Phil Knipling to finish We're Back at Dinosaur Story alone. Unfortunately, We're Back at Dinosaur Story was a box office failure, grossing over $9 million and failing to reach the massive success of Jurassic Park, which Steven Spielberg have released the previous summer of 1993. The commercial failure of We're Back at Dinosaur Story led to budgetary constraints on Balto and would lead to it being Ambilmation's final film. However, in October 1994, Steven Spielberg co-founded DreamWorks Pictures along with Beetlejuice's Hollywood agents David Geffen and, of course, former Disney chairman Jeffrey Katzenberg. Dinkelberg. And relocated 120 Ambilmation's crew members to Los Angeles as Balto's near completion to form DreamWorks Animation. After Balto failed at the box office, Ambilmation was officially closed, and most remaining crew members joined DreamWorks to begin working on The Prince of Egypt, The Road to El Dorado, Spirit, The Style of the Cimarron, and Sinbad, The Legend of the Seven Seas, while some move on to join other studios.
Wow, that's impressive. The drawback of Ambilmation is the lack of animated movies that's made from them. Almost all of the animation studios around the world that makes animated movies, only 3 movies are made from Ambilmation. In 1997, its purpose was fulfilled. I mean, come on. Only 3 movies? Way to disappoint the fans. But now, with the history out of the way, let's move on to setting.
The setting of If Ambilmation Did Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken is going to be a tad different from the original DreamWorks animation version. Because this is going to be a what-if scenario of an alternate universe of what would it be like if Ambilmation did Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken. According to the original movie, Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken did take place on present day, with the present day technology such as smartphones, live action video streaming, and even video chats. However, since it's going to be a what if scenario of if Ambilmation did Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken, I do think it's going to take place in 1996. Is going to be the same release date of the live-action 101 Dalmatians remake from 1996, starring Glenn Close as Cruella de Vil.
This is the only live-action remake of an animated Disney classic from 1996 that everybody loves. I promise to keep the live-action animated Disney remakes to a minimum.
In 1996, people used retro technology like mobile phones, pagers, video game consoles like the Nintendo 64, computer-generated video games, World Wide Web, cereals like Waffle Crisp and French Toast Crunch, etc. But unfortunately, there's no family movies about teenagers in 1996. No, Beavis and Butthead Do America does not count. I'm of course talking about family movies that's about teenagers from the late 1990s like The Babysitter's Club, also known as The Babysitter's Club, the movie, and even Casper. 2 of these movies were released in the same year, 1995, before 1996, both distributed by 2 different and separate distributors, Columbia Pictures and Universal Studios. At least both of these movies have teenagers. Anyway, the setting of Oceanside, wherever it is in the US of A in 1996, is pretty giving. The President of the United States of America, Bill Clinton, was still president at the time. According to the setting of We're Back at Dinosaur Story, it takes place in 1993 during Thanksgiving. Unlike a certain person who's late doing shows of his eccentric circus between the months of September and October. And even in the live-action scenes from Balto, which takes place in New York City in 1995.
Now I have my setting of Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken produced by Ambilmation out of the way. let's move on to the title character of Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken, the Teenage Kraken herself, Ruby Gillman.
As we all know, Ruby Gillman is a sweet and awkward 16-year-old human-sized anthropomorphic sea kraken who always wants to fit into the human world, even though both of her personality and characteristics are cute as well as her character designs. But since this is going to be a what-if scenario of if Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken should be produced by Ambilmation, I think her character design should be a mixture between Don Bluth in his own unique design and Phil Nibeling's own unique character design, kind of similar to William Salazar and Mike Amos. Unfortunately, Mike Amos didn't work for Ambilmation, but fortunately, William Salazar did work for Ambilmation.
So, ha!
But the character designs of Ruby's Kraken form is going to be quite complicated. But I do think the perfect character designers for Ruby Gillman's Kraken form will be the same character designers who did the character designs of Rex from We're Back in Dinosaur Story after he got forced to swallow 280 portions of brain grain and made him into a talking and friendly Tyrannosaurus Rex who will not eat dinosaurs' meat for lunch.
Lunch? What's lunch?
Okay, since I got the character designs of both Ruby Gillman's on land form and on sea form, who is going to voice Ruby Gillman? I think I know the perfect candidate. The voice of Ruby Gillman is
Melissa Joan Hart, who played Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I do enjoy Melissa Joan Hart as Sabrina because of Sabrina's quirky personality and characteristics, as well as her cute voice. She's the perfect choice for the role of Ruby Gillman. Think about it. Like Sabrina the Teenage Witch, Ruby Gillman is noticing something strange is happening in her body when she explains about what's happening to her body. Her aunts Hilda and Zelda explains, "Oh wait, this is Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken, not Sabrina the Teenage Witch." Her mother, Agatha Gillman, explains that she really is.
I'll get to Agatha Gillman and the rest of her family, as well as Ruby Gillman's friends, just as soon as I finish with Chelsea. Speaking of which, let's move on to the main antagonist of Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken, Chelsea.
Now, when you watch these three Ambilmation movies, did you know that these three Ambilmation movies have male villains in them? Cat R. Roll from An American Tail, Five Goes West, Professor Screw-Eyes from We're Back, A Dinosaur Story, and Steel from Balto.
But not one female villain of an Ambilmation movie.
Eris from Sinbad, The Legends of the Seven Seas doesn't count, even though both Sinbad, The Legend of the Seven Seas, and Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken is produced by Ambilmation. I'm talking about if Ambilmation did make another animation movie, if it's still on business, there's going to be putting a female main antagonist in of an Ambilmation movie. But the character designs of Chelsea of if Ambilmation did make Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken is going to be challenging.
Because I can't find any Ambilmation style drawings of Chelsea in my book, The Art of Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken. Book recommendation for all Ruby Gillman fans.
If I'm going to be discussing the character design of Chelsea, or if Ambilmation did make Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken, I think the character designs for Chelsea should have the same facial expressions and inspiration as Cecilia Nuthatch from We're Back in Dinosaur Story, as long as she doesn't talk like Lisa Simpson. But what about Chelsea's mermaid form?
Meh, same character designs as Chelsea's human form with a fishtail.
But what about Chelsea's true form as the Titan Narissa? It's a little complicated too. If she's in her true Titan form, I don't think it's the same character designs of both Chelsea's human form and her mermaid form.
Well, the character design of both Chelsea's human form, mermaid form, and Titan form was both quick and it was a mouthful. But we should conclude this part of the video about talking about who's going to voice Chelsea in Steven Spielberg's Ambilmation's version of Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken.
Now, the voice of Chelsea Nerissa is kind of adorable, even though she's voiced by Annie Murphy, and she did a great job of bringing that adorable villain to life.
And then I found you, my super sea-girl bestie, and now everything is right in the world.
Delightful.
Since this is going to be a what-if scenario of if Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken is produced by Ambilmation, who's going to be perfect for the voice for the role? Well, I have 3 candidates. Jodie
Not Jodie Benson.
Better make that 2 candidates for who's going to be voicing Chelsea and Nerissa. One is Jessica Weston, who played Amber Whitmire in the live-action Casper movie. Kath Soucie, who did the voice of Kathleen Cat Harvey in the Spectacular New Adventures of Casper.
Now comes the final decision of who's going to voice Chelsea and Nerissa. In my honest opinion, I prefer Kath Soucie to voice Chelsea and Nerissa.
Why? Listen to her voice for Kat.
Well, I'll have you know the reason I'm so jazzed is because I have finally been recognized as an artist.
Adorable. Now, let's listen to Jessica Weston, who played Amber Whitmire in the live-action Casper movie.
Watch it! Coming Vic? Harvey. My dad from Santa Fe. And, in outer space? Well, yeah, if you drink blood. Oh, wait a minute. I thought we were having the party at my place. Oh, okay, we'll take a vote. Whoever wants to party at my house, raise your hand. Well, did you ask her? And she actually believed you? No, it's absolutely perfect. Hey, she wants a Halloween party. She's gonna get a Halloween party. Oh my. Oh, you gotta see this. People are gonna freak.
Oh, definitely Kath Soucie. But there's one more opinion on this before I move on.
Even though Brendan Fraser was originally cast as Steel, I do think it's cool to have a voice actor like Jim Cummings to do a villain voice role in an Ambilmation movie. That's why I chose Kath Soucie to do the voice role of Chelsea and Nerissa.
Next comes the character designs of if Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken, if it got produced by Ambilmation, as well as the other voice roles of different characters.
Even though that character designs from these movies are going to be very different from each other. But let's start with the Gillman family, the main family focus of the movie. We begin with Agatha, the mother, the Kraken warrior, and of course,
Agatha Gillman, and I slay the competition. She got us our dream home, and I'm not asking how.
Agatha and the rest of her family, besides the character designs of Ruby Gillman, are going to be in the style of Don Bluth. With the 2 animated movies that he directed for both Steven Spielberg and George Lucas, that's saying a lot. Now, who is going to be perfect to do the voice of Agatha?
Let's do one quick charade. Who am I? Kevin!
That's right, Catherine O'Hara, who played Kate McAllister in the 2 Home Alone movies. Now, don't get me wrong, I have nothing against both Toni Collette and her performance as Agatha. She did a great job of voicing her, and I do love the sound of her voice, but it's just a what-if scenario video. And if Catherine O'Hara is also perfect for doing the role, she did other voice roles in her lifetime like both Sally and Jock from The Nightmare Before Christmas, Kana from Brother Bear 2, Weird Girl from Frankenweenie, and Pinktail from The Wild Robot. But in my opinion, Catherine O'Hara can do no wrong if she ever did the voice of Agatha Gillman. But what about the character designs of Agatha's giant Kraken form? Even though her Kraken form is colorful, but I do think it's the same character design of her human-sized Kraken form.
Next in our list of Gillmans is Arthur Gillman.
Besides from the character design of Arthur Gillman, and he doesn't become a giant Kraken like his wife.
Since he doesn't have the ability to turn into a giant Kraken like her wife, how does Arthur Gillman put it in the family?
Only the women in our family turn giant.
That's what I thought.
Even though Arthur Gillman is like an everyday seaman as well as the average man, as well as we already described the character designs of Arthur in this Ambilmation version, but who's going to be perfect to voice Arthur?
Well, maybe this screen will answer the question. That's what I thought.
Yep, Dr. James Harvey himself, Bill Pullman. Even though Arthur looks like a big, strong man, but I do think that Bill Pullman is perfect for the role.
Let's hope he doesn't turn into a ghost. Yeah, I don't think so.
But what can I say but Bill Pullman as Arthur Gillman?
This doesn't help my case.
Next in our Gillman's list, the most fun, mischievous, and sometimes annoying little brother to Ruby Gillman, Sam Gillman.
Well, to some of us, Sam does have a fun personality.
Around his age range, I presume.
Again, I said, we already described the character designs of the Gillman family in this Ambilmation version. Who is going to be perfect for the voice of role of Sam?
In all honesty, I think the perfect candidate to voice Sam Gillman happens to be
Bradley Pierce, who played Peter from Jumanji, because we already know that this is the kid that voiced Boris from the Oz Kids, Tails from Deke's Sonic the Hedgehog, aka Sonic Sat AM, and Chip from Disney's Beauty and the Beast, who, in my own opinion, is the perfect casting choice for this character.
I'm a legend.
Next comes the family pet, Nessie, the most cutest family pet that you'll ever see.
Like all the three Ambilmation movies, everyone should have a sidekick, or should I say the comic reliefs, the characters that children can relate to while the parents think that they're annoying.
That's not 100% true in my book.
If Nessie is going to be in the Ambilmation version of Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken, then who's going to voice Nessie? Why, none other than Megatron himself, Frank Welker. Think about it. Frank Welker can do vocal effects on any animal that you can imagine. A bull, a cat, a dog, etc. Besides, Frank Welker is perfect for doing the vocal effects for Nessie. Even though Thomas O'Sullivan made Frank Welker do the vocal effects for Puka from Anastasia.
Delightful. Next is Brill, Agatha's slap-happy brother.
I really don't have any opinions on the guy, honestly. Maybe it's his Dom DeLuise acting. That is funny, I guess. Speaking of which, the perfect choice for this role is the late Dom DeLuise. Think about it once again. Dom DeLuise was voice casted once as Tiger in American Tail, twice in American Tail 5 Goes West. So, Dom DeLuise is perfect for the role of Brill.
Now comes the final member of the Gillman family, Grandmama, the royal queen of Krakens.
Even though Grandmama happens to be the most powerful leader and queen of all of the mini Krakens, but the character of Grandmama is quite obvious, but I really do think that Grandmama will be in the style of Don Bluth. But now, who do you think is perfect for voicing Grandmama?
Well, I'll let a certain mouse answer that question for you.
Hey, sister, give me some of that cheese. I'm a queen, too. And I want something to eat. Right this minute.
That's right, Phyllis Diller. Phyllis Diller will be perfect for voicing Grandmama. She did voices like Granny Neutron from The Adventures of Jimmy Neutron, the Bride of Frankenstein from Mad Monster Party, Susie Squirrel from Animaniacs, the Queen Bee from A Bug's Life.
The less I talk about that movie, the better.
I think Phyllis Diller will be perfect for the role. Now, don't get me wrong, Jane Fonda did a great job of voicing Grandmama, but it's my own imagination, so I make the rules.
Let's talk about the human characters, like Captain Lighthouse.
Like Moby Dick when Captain Ahab is hunting for the white whale, Captain Gordon has an obsession with Krapkins. Even though all the human characters are going to be the line of style of Phil Nibbling, who's going to be perfect for the voice role again? Well, I have two candidates. One, Frank Welker again, or two, Jim Cummings. Since Jim Cummings did a good job voicing Steel and Balto, but I do think that Jim Cummings will do a good job voicing Captain Gordon too. But what style of the voice is going to use?
I do think this is going to be a similar performance as
Captain Long John Silver from The Pagemaster.
I land the very same. Well, seeing as how me men plucked you out of the water like a drowned bilge rat, you'll be joining our happy family as our new cabin boy.
Definitely Long John Silver as Captain Gordon.
Next, we have Ruby Gillman's love interest. The character design on Connor is going to be different than the human characters are going to be in the style of Phil Nibbling. I do think that the character design happens to be in the style of Bruce W. Smith, the creator of The Proud Family and the director of the first ever animated movie that's directed by an African American animator Bruce W. Smith ever directed is Bebe's Kids. Now, who will be perfect for voicing Connor?
I think Carlton from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air himself,
Alfonso Ribeiro.
For the love of God, does nobody have a bell?
Okay, that line was very funny.
We have some three human friends, Margot, Bliss, and Trevin. Let's start with Margot, the Broadway enthusiast. Since I established the character design of Ambilmation, who's going to voice Margot?
Stop! In the name of love.
Yeah, even though Michelle Thomas did die of cancer, I gave my condolences to both her and the family. I forgot how annoying she was in family matters.
But yeah, Michelle Thomas voicing Margot in Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken if it's produced by Ambilmation.
Hello, Miss Laura. Stephen told me you asked him to help you with your French, so I figured I should be here as the HPM.
Yeah, hearing Michelle Thomas's performance of Myra Monkhouse as the voice of Margot is such a delight to listen to, wasn't it?
This is all your fault, Missy. You may have won the battle, but you will never win the war. Stephen Q. Urkel is my man, and I won't let him go without a fight.
But still, as long as she doesn't have her heart set on one boy in that version, I'm good.
Hello, my sexy Stephen.
There's also a gothic girl named Bliss. Again, even though I already did talk about the character designs, who's going to be perfect to voice her?
Well, to me the answer is quite obvious.
Christina Ricci. Yep, she'd be perfect for voicing Bliss. If you ever went to high school, then you know this type of person. There's one more human friend to the group, and that human's name is Trevin, who always loved to play video games. For some reason, always bring them to school.
I remember when I used to bring a Banjo-Kazooie game cartridge and a video game guide of Banjo-Kazooie to the Raymond School. And I got in trouble for it.
For the last time, well, you know the drill. Who's going to be voicing Trevin? I do think Sean Hunter from Boy Meets World, himself, Ryder Strong, at least has the perfect voice for Trevin.
Now it comes to both the tone and the humor. The tone of Oceanside will be both happy and jolly, and the tone of the Kingdom of the Krakens will become whimsical and enchanting. The humor will have pop culture references and zany slapstick humor both in Casper, Tiny Toon Adventures, and Animaniacs. Well, let's find out.
There's not much to talk about in this part, but let's start with the tone of both Oceanside and the Kraken Kingdom. If you watch both of these films, as we all know, the tone of all Ambilmation movies is supposed to be both happy and jolly, as well as the high school, as well as the setting for Oceanside later on, as we all know in every animated family movie. Well, almost. There's a cliche. There's a bit of drama from every family movie before the final confrontation. It could be serious, but her dad, the little brother, and her pet with Cam Gordon can be serious too. During the final confrontation, the tone should be action-packed, but near the end, the tone of Oceanside is happy again. But in the Sea Kingdom, the tone should be whimsical and enchanting. When Agatha confronted her mother about Ruby's unusual visits to her grandma.
Grandmama?
Whatever. To address the issue, the tone can be serious too. But when Ruby's Kraken form is swimming in the ocean, it can be both happy and jolly too. When she's in trouble, like getting caught in Kevin Gordon's Kraken-sized net, there's going to be danger, as well as Chelsea reveals her true self.
Now I got the tone out of the way, but what about the humor?
The humor in these three Ambilmation movies are fun to watch, even though that An American Tail, Five Goes West is supposed to be an animated western musical comedy adventure film, as well as the sequel. To An American Tail from 1986, the original An American Tail is an animated musical comedy drama film, but comedy drama is not what I'm looking for. Like the original Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken produced by DreamWorks Animation, Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken produced by Ambilmation is an American comedy film, like We're Back, A Dinosaur Story, what happens to be an animated adventure comedy film, unlike The Lamp of Our Time from 1988, which is an animated drama film. And Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken, produced by Ambilmation, is not an animated adventure film, but at least there are some funny scenes within it with Star.
You what?
Seriously?
You crack me up!
The middle.
Yeah, hit him!
Impulsive in the most.
No lapdog! That's good!
Gesundheit.
Here.
Funny. Now what does the humor of Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken looks like? I think the humor of Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken, if it's produced by Ambilmation, it's going to be written by
a gray veteran cartoon squirrel and a brave little toaster. I love their sense of humor both in Tiny Toon Adventures and Animaniacs. It's so fun to watch.
But yeah, I still love Sherry Stoner's co-creation with Paul Dini and Minerva Mink. But I digress.
But the only two live-action family movies that they wrote are both Casper and Disney's My Favorite Martian. Even though they did write two live-action family movies, but they didn't write a screenplay for an animated theatrical movie. But hey, besides from Sherry Stoner did wrote some bits from Tiny Toon Adventures, How I Spend My Vacation, I think both Sherry Stoner and Dina Oliver will be perfect for writing the screenplay of Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken produced by Ambilmation.
Now comes the most challenging part of this what-if scenario if Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken produced by Ambilmation. The story. Let's dig into it.
After we have our traditional Universal Pictures logo with the globe of the earth and no clouds, and have our black opening credits, we truly open with...
Sing it with me now. Under the sea. Under the sea. We heard Grandma's voice.
Grandmama?
Giving us a legend about Krakens.
The ocean is a mysterious world. One that land dwellers can only begin to imagine. Of course, you think you know what lies beneath the surface. Ah, but the sea creatures who live there, well, even the ones you have imagined, you've imagined them wrong. Take the mythical, mighty giant Kraken, bloodthirsty monster, sinker of ships, drowner of sailors. That's what you people think. You see, in real life, Krakens are noble protectors. The sea will always need a Kraken, and a Kraken will always answer the call.
Here we see the title character, Ruby Gillman, uses her walkie-talkie.
It's a what-if scenario. I can do whatever I want.
Contacting with her friends, getting ready to propose to convince her mother to give her blessing to go to the prom by showing her a presentation by showing a video from a VHS tape coming through a TV. Agatha thinks it's a strong presentation. She likes the energy, but unfortunately, she gives Ruby the big fat no. Here, not only are we introduced to Agatha, we get to know the rest of the Gillman family, Arthur and Sam. Agatha's a real estate agent. Arthur has his own public assets show called Bottled Up, while he has his own shop selling ships and bottles, and Sam is still a champion of dodgeball. Like every younger sibling of her family, Sam loves to drive her crazy. Agatha noticed a magazine called Marine Biology, which brings up Agatha's strict rule of no going into the ocean. In this what-if scenario, this is 4 years before the direct-to-video movie. The Little Mermaid 2 returned to the sea when Ariel has a strict rule of no going to the water. Ariel forbade his daughter Melody from ever going to the water because of the risks of Ursula's sister Morgana. Like father, like daughter.
I'm not saying this in a rude way, I'm just comparing.
Anyway, the Gillmans are going to spend their day until we come across Captain Gordon because he's the only one who knows about the existence of the Krakens. He said he has his eyes on her. Her walkie-talkie rings to let her friends know the bad news. At the least she has Plan B, anti-prom party, but the only food that's perfect for that party, nothing but
fondue.
But her friends have bad news too, but Ruby tries to figure out another solution to that problem. Margot reminds Ruby of all the fun times that she missed because of her mom's annoying no water rule.
Like YouTube's annoying copyright rule.
Margot begs Ruby to go to the prom more than anything in the world. But when all the fun seems lost, Trevin comes up with a solution by sneaking out or something, and her mom doesn't have to know. But Ruby said she'll do it. She's going to ask Connor by showing her a piece of graphic paper that shows the advanced quadratic equations.
Prom!
Remember, Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken, produced by Ambilmation, takes place in the 90s. Smartphones hasn't been invented yet until 2004.
But her friends are not impressed with that advanced quadratic equation. Ruby thinks it's cool, but Margot thinks art is the true way to ask someone to prom. Ruby thinks Margot is right about this. Margot has other ways to ask Connor to prom. She thinks that this cannon is the way to go, but Ruby is not sure about this until Connor comes in. She fantasizes about him until reality comes back. Connor is up for their tutoring session, but she said yes, but she asked Margot for the cannon. But outside of the school, she's nervous about that, until she gains the courage to try and ask him. But unfortunately, it backfired on her, which makes Connor go into the water, which makes her go into the water to rescue him, which triggers her abilities, makes her into a giant Kraken. She rescues Connor and get back to the surface, which she sees something which thinks she's his savior. Ruby got to the beach all soaked and wet. She realizes about Connor. She must go to find him. Margot confronted Ruby to tell her about what happened, but she denies it. She found him wrapped around in towels. He told her about who saved them.
The new girl.
Ruby noticed the new girl. She's the most popular girl in school, where she makes a speech about her first day of school. Connor was going to thank her, but she's going to finish her story, but... Whoa, girl! Get down from that statue before you fall and injure yourself! Ruby noticed that her hand is glowing, beginning to freak out until Chelsea finds Ruby trying to get to know her. But Ruby's hands is growing and starts to freak out, but runs to the school library. Meanwhile, Agatha was busy trying to sell a house to a couple who was expecting a baby soon. Back in the school library, which is closed, to hide there until school is over. Even though this took place in 1996, she has no touchscreen smartphone to get in contact with her mother to let her know what's going on. But she started to grow big, she scared the librarian, and then her Kraken form destroyed the roof of the school library. While Kevin Gordon is doing one of his daily tours and then he starts panicking because of the destruction of the library, which makes Ruby flee from the school, while Chelsea saw Ruby's giant Kraken form. But back in the open house, Agatha is showing the couple outside the back. It's so beautiful. When everything is going according to plan, Agatha noticed Ruby's giant Kraken form, which makes Agatha follow Ruby's giant Kraken form. As Agatha is going to follow her daughter's giant Kraken form, she comes across a familiar face. It's her brother, Brill. She's sent by Grandma.
Grandmama?
Whatever. To go get her. Agatha takes Brill along for the ride to get her until it reached the lighthouse. Agatha told Brill to wait for her in the car while she talked with her daughter. Ruby's afraid that her mother is going to be mad at her.
Yeah, Thomas has a fear of her mother when she gets angry. But I digress.
But Ruby puts her giant Kraken hand down to have a talk in a very nice and calm way. Ruby tells her mother that she had to go to the water to rescue Carter, but she understands that she did the right thing.
If only King Triton didn't understand that Ariel did the right thing of saving Prince Eric's life. So,
as she started to calm down, she started to shrink down back to her human size. As Ruby and her mother hug each other, Brill give her a hug too, but she punched him in the face. She asks what's going on with her. Back in the shop, she explains about what's going on. She told her that her mother turned into a giant Kraken too. As Arthur already mentioned this to us before, only females in the Gillman family can turn into a giant Kraken too. Unfortunately, Ruby is not going to take this very well, and Agatha lied to her daughter.
Again, in The Little Mermaid 2, Return to the Sea, Ariel lied to her daughter Melody.
She stomps to her room screaming in a beanbag chair out of frustration. Ruby feels sorry for Brill until Nessie makes her figure out that Brill can't hide anything. Ruby sneaks out of her home to find him. She found him, but he's under attack by seagulls because they wanted the corn dog. Ruby confronted Brill just to ask him who sent him, but Brill does not want to spill the beans in front of Ruby, but her mom can't explain anything to her. But he accidentally spilled the beans in front of Ruby by telling her she's sent by Grandma.
Grandmama?
Whatever. Ruby doesn't even know that she has a grandmother. They figure out that the only females in the Gillman family can turn into giant Kraken. That means Grandma...
Grandmama?
Whatever, can turn into a giant Kraken too. Brill told Ruby that she never left the ocean, but Agatha did all these years. Ruby agrees that Oceanside is not a place for a giant Kraken, but Ruby decides she's going to the water, but Brill can't let Ruby do that. She gives Brill a hug, she takes another corn dog to make a diversion, and goes into the water anyway. For some strange reason, Brill accepts it. Brill takes Ruby's giant Kraken form to go to her, but not long until Captain Gordon noticed the glow. She met her whale of a friend, Clarence J. Wiffleton, though on the other hand, Ruby thinks the ocean is beautiful, so they finally get to the Kraken Kingdom. Once inside, she finally met her royal grandma. She called herself Grandma.
Grandmama?
Whatever. She hugs Ruby so tightly, but Agatha never told Ruby that she was royalty. Ruby thinks it's a tiny old mission.
Tiny old mission? Agatha!
In the original DreamWorks movie, she did get a little angry about Agatha's choice living in dry land. Here, if Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken is produced by Ambilmation, here's Grandmama's reaction to Agatha's choice of living in Dryland.
Anyway, she asks about her life as a human-sized anthropomorphic Kraken. She thinks it's great. She has a couple of friends and almost asked Connor to go to prom. Her grandmother introduced her royal subjects with her granddaughter, announced that she's going to be her successor, which means she's going to be a princess. She's having a panic attack. Meanwhile, back inside the Gillman household, Agatha thinks about what her daughter said to her. She goes into her room to see how she's doing, but it's Nessie filling in for her. Back in the ocean, Ruby tells her grandmother that she's just an average teenager. Her grandmother tells Ruby that she's the third giant Kraken on Earth, as well as the other sea monsters who tried to steal the throne, but they never succeeded. But the mermaid is... But the Titan Narissa is the most evil of them all. The only weapon that could defeat a giant Kraken is the trident called Oceanus, until her mom Agatha comes to save the day. As she makes her queen-making moment, she hides the trident away. She leaves her kingdom to become a human-sized anthropomorphic Kraken to blend in. Her mother told Ruby that she has superpowers too. She can use them to fight and protect the innocent.
Wait for world peace! But first...
Ruby prefers to continue with her life as a teenager, but her grandmother lets her go. Just then, she gets caught by Captain Gordon's trap. But then, who should come to Ruby's rescue? But Chelsea, as a...
I'm a mother flippin' mermaid!
But Captain Gordon has one more trick in his sleeve. A mime that's going to blow both Ruby and Chelsea to Kingdom Come. But they escaped, and it foiled Captain Gordon's plan.
Person! Foiled again!
But Ruby still can't believe that Chelsea is a...
And with a fin, a fish come true, a mermaid?
Thanks for that.
Ruby is thanking Chelsea for saving her life. She still needs to go back home to Oceanside to go to bed, forget this day ever happened. She sneaks back into her bedroom, then rises and shines. She's going to have a normal day in school. Agatha looking through a photo album, looking at photos of the good times that she done with her daughter. She's worried that she's going to do the same things that she did with her mom. Ruby tries to sneak out through the front door, but Agatha catches her in the act. Ruby tells her mom that everything is under control until she starts her day anyway. In the school, all the students gave their respects to the school library. Her friends knew about it yesterday and showed Ruby the newspaper article about what happened. Everybody is reading the newspaper around Ruby Gillman, and she's starting to freak out. She runs inside the school as everybody is still reading the newspaper. She hides in the girls' bathroom to calm herself down until Chelsea comes to Ruby can have a nice talk with her together. Until Chelsea tells her point of view of the Battle of the Trident, until Chelsea saw a vision of the future. Back in the Gillman house, she gets a phone call from the school asking about what happened at the library, until the news report on television about it, until Brooke comes to the house. Agatha must have a quick heart-to-heart talk with Brill about it. Captain Gordon is hiring a crew to hunt the giant Kraken once and for all. Agatha has an ocean-tastic idea. Arthur, Brill, and Sam are working for Captain Gordon to hunt down the Kraken. But back in the ocean, Chelsea shows Ruby where the trident is located, called the Well of Seas. Only a Kraken must go down there to get it. And that giant Kraken is Ruby, but it's impossible to get it. She turned to
Grandmama?
Whatever, for assistance by teaching Ruby how to use her powers.
Cue the montage music, please.
Ruby finally made it to the Trident of Oceanus. She's hearing voices inside her head.
A freak from the deep shows up and I'm supposed to learn math?
You're a Kraken hiding as a human.
If you stay on dry land, you'll stay small.
That thing is a monster. A real-life monster.
You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
You'll shoot your eye out!
Garbage Day is a very dangerous day.
This is the greatest movie I've ever seen in my life.
She tries to get it, but fails miserably. But one of that she's going to do next is going to ask her mom for some advice. Meanwhile, back on the surface, Arthur is driving the ship while Sam is bouncing around. Captain Gordon is throwing impatience towards him until he yells,
Kraken ahoy!
It's showtime for them. But it was Nessie the whole time. Sam took a photo with a camera to give them proof that they caught the Kraken.
Nessie, you tiny genius.
Ruby is going to introduce her mom to her ocean bestie, but Chelsea is nervous that if Agatha doesn't like her, she tries to introduce her mom to her, but she chickened out. But Ruby spilled the beans by telling her mom that she's a mermaid. But both Ruby and Agatha got inside the house. Agatha tries to warn her about her, but Ruby can't comprehend the dangers that she's going to be in. Like every other mother and every daughter, they have an argument about that. She grows into a giant Kraken inside the house.
For some strange reason, without going into the water.
Agatha finds out that her mom has been training Ruby, and she decided to pay her mother a little visit. Ruby also decided that there's no turning back from that fake life. At least Brill noticed that Ruby is hanging out with the mermaid. Agatha going to visit her mom, have an argument about Ruby, but it's not long until she lets her mother know that she's friends with a mermaid. Until that mermaid is, shocks of all shocks, it's Chelsea is really the Titan Nerissa. Until Ruby got the Trident of Oceanus, and when Ruby gave Chelsea,
or should I say, Titan Nerissa.
As prom is officially beginning, Connor felt sad because he didn't ask Ruby to go to prom. But then, Titan Nerissa decided to rise and wreak havoc on Oceanside, until Kraken Agatha comes in and tries to save the day. Arthur told Captain Gordon that giant Kraken is his wife, and then the hunt of the giant mermaid is on. Kraken Agatha asks Titan Nerissa where's her daughter. Tell Grandmama, whatever, to help her defeat Titan Nerissa. Meanwhile, back in the sea, Brill found Ruby in a pile of big rocks. Ruby hates to admit it that her mother was right. She should have gone back home, but Brill comforts her. But Brill's comforting her works, and she decides to fight back. As soon as Kraken Agatha and her mother get their butts handed to Titan Nerissa, until Kraken Ruby is up for a round. Titan Nerissa reveals her friends that the giant Kraken is Ruby. The fight is on for a couple of minutes until Sam finally stands up to her sister. But the fight continues, but Ruby saves the prom from a giant wave. But as Titan Nerissa is going to end her, Ruby has this to say.
I am not a monster. I'm a Kraken.
Ruby has a plan to stop this by destroying the Trident together by using their laser eyes. But Titan Nerissa is not going to give it up again. Then the Trident exploded, the Krakens have saved the evening, and Captain Gordon has their mermaid, but Agatha lets Ruby to have the last dance. Brill finally has a hug from both her sister and her mother. As Ruby finally went to the prom, she apologized to everybody for the things that she done, like ditching the fun plans and events, and she finally proposed to Connor, and Connor shows Ruby the sheet of graph paper, advanced quadratic equation, and it says yes. But they started dancing until Grandmama, hey, I got it right, good for me, gets to know about her family on the land. Grandmama and Sam are going to get along with each other. Kevin Gordon records an apology video with a video camera and goes to share to the news. But until he showed them his hunt for the night. But Ruby and her friends are still dancing. And so the story ends with the Gillman family have their own video cameras by shooting videos and posting them to public access stations. Everything in Oceanside High School is back to normal until takes the job of becoming a hero of both Oceanside and the Kraken Kingdom. And they all lived happily ever after. And then roll the end credits.
Whew. Now that we got the most challenging part out of the way, let's finally move on to both music and songs.
As much as I enjoyed music from Steven Spielberg's both directed movies and executive produced movies and animated TV shows over the years, like John Williams, Alan Silvestri, James Horner, Jerry Goldsmith, Bruce Broughton, and Richard Stone. Since if Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken is going to be produced by Ambilmation, who is going to be both the composer and conductor to the music of if Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken is going to be produced by Ambilmation?
Well, the answer to me is quite obvious. Both the composer and conductor happens to be
the late James Horner. Even though that he both did compose and conduct the scores of An American Tail, Batteries Not Included, The Land Before Time, Dad, Tummy Trouble, An American Tail, Fievel Goes West, A Far Off Place, We're Back, A Dinosaur Story, Casper, and Balto. If James Horner was still alive in 2023, he'll probably do the score of Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken. But if Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken is going to be produced by Ambilmation, he's definitely the perfect for the duty as both conductor and composer for Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken if it's produced by Ambilmation. It's going to be combine the music moods and the music sounds of the movie. During the house and the town and the high school scenes, it will be the late 90s style town music. And in the Kraken Kingdom scenes, it will be whimsical and enchanting. Oh, those scores.
always so peaceful. Yeah. But what about the songs?
While the music of American Tail is both composed and conducted by James Horner, as well as he did the music for the songs, but the lyrics of the songs of American Tail are done both by the late Cynthia Well and Barry Mann. In the original The Land Before Time, there's no songs in it. Not until the song If We Hold On Together, performed by Diana Ross. But the animated The Land Before Time direct-to-video movies are musicals. The less I talk about those movies, the better. In American Tail, Fievel Goes West, the three songs in that movie are written by the late Will Jennings, along with the 1991 version of Somewhere Out There performed by Blossom. But like the animated The Land Before Time direct-to-video movies, the animated and American Tail direct-to-video movies are musicals too. Again, I said, the less I talk about those movies, the better. Roll Back the Rock to the Dawn of Time is the only song that's in We're Back, A Dinosaur Story. Both performed by John Goodman and at the end of the song is performed by the late Little Richard. As the music of the song of Roll Back to the Rock to the Dawn of Time is done by James Horner, but the lyrics of the song is written by Thomas Dolby, the lyricist of the three only songs from Fern Gully, The Last Rainforest. Like the original The Land Before Time, there's no songs in Balto, not until the song Reach for the Light performed by Steve Winwood. Both the animated direct-to-video Balto movies, Balto 2, Wolf Quest, and Balto 3, Winds of Change, are, thank goodness, are not musicals.
Now that I reviewed the songs of all the animated movies that Steven Spielberg produced, that are both composed and conducted by the late James Horner, how many songs am I envisioning of if Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken, is going to be produced by Ambilmation to have, and what mood and pacing of the songs look like?
Judging by the length of the original DreamWorks animation version, I think Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken, produced by Ambilmation, will have 6 songs that have their themes and tones to the story. We all know how the songs of the animated movies go. There's the opening number, the hero ballad, the villain song, the comedy duo, the love theme, and of course, the closing song. I think the opening number will be similar to Belle from Beauty and the Beast, which, surprise, surprise, released in the same year as An American Tail 50 Goes West, who happens to be released in the same year as Thomas O'Sullivan was born, along with the 1996 style to it, which actually works. If there's one thing I can agree to is a song Chelsea Vanderzee, aka Tiny Narissa. Either when she's in school hanging out with Ruby, either on land or on sea, in a much chipper tone. If Chelsea Vanderzee is in her true form as Titan Narissa, she'll probably sing a song with a similar sinister mood and pacing like Open Up Your Eyes from My Little Pony the Movie 2017. That's all I can think of the villain song. But let's move on to the hero ballad. When Ruby meets Grandmama for the first time, I'm thinking the hero ballad should have a church-like tone, like he's back from Once Upon a Forest, Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now from Cats Don't Dance, and Dig a Little Deeper from The Princess and the Frog, and even The Gospel Truth from Hercules, which kind of works since what I'm talking about of its Broadway musical style. It's great banter, but what about the love theme between both Ruby and Connor? Well, I have 3 ideas. First off, a song which it's going to be playing in the background, but at first, both Ruby and Connor interact with each other, like A Whole New World from Aladdin, and Far Longer Than Forever from The Swan Princess. It is a nice song during a love montage of both Connor and Ruby, building their romantic connection together in high school. Second is a song while Connor is on dry land is thinking about Ruby in her giant Kraken form swimming in the sea thinking about Connor. You know, combine the 2 songs together into one ballad.
Wow, that's impressively genius. And third,
besides from A Whole New World from Aladdin, I think it should be a romantic date montage, like both Bella Notte from Lady and the Tramp and Let Me Be Your Wings from Thumbelina. If there's going to be a song about prom, it's going to be a Broadway-style showstopper. Lights, tap dancing, showgirls, confetti, acrobats, everything. Like Be Our Guest from Beauty and the Beast, Under the Sea from The Little Mermaid. There has to be a Broadway-style musical number in prom, like Princesses on Parade from The Swan Princess, Big and Loud Part 1 from Cats Don't Dance, Cabin Fever from Muppet Treasure Island, Prince Ali from Aladdin, and Topsy Turvy from The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Put them all together and what do you get? A musical number that will blow the viewers' minds. There is absolutely no doubt about it. To describe how expansive and expensive to about how awesome that song will be. There's one more thing to talk about this part. The grand finale song. Even though in An American Tail, Fievel Goes West, We're Back, A Dinosaur Story, and Balto doesn't have any finale songs. But in this scenario of If Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken is produced by Ambilmation, I think the finale song should be similar to the finale reprise of Down in New Orleans from The Princess and the Frog, sung by Ruby Gillman.
Now we've got both the music and the songs are out of the way, there's one more thing to talk about. The poster. There's not much to talk about if there's going to be a poster if Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken is going to be produced by Ambilmation. Then who? Well, the answer to me is quite obvious. The late
Drew Struzan. I know the fact that he died recently because due to the death of Alzheimer's disease, but hear me out on this. The reason that I chose Drew Struzan to do this job is that I've been envisioning that if Drew Struzan did the poster of the original Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken produced by DreamWorks Animation, he'll probably be perfect for the job of designing the poster of If Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken produced by Ambilmation. Because after all, he did the poster of family movies An American Tail, the concept poster art of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, DuckTales, the movie Treasure of the Lost Lamp, The Muppet Christmas Carol, We're Back, A Dinosaur Story, and Muppet Treasure Island. Drew Struzan will be forever in our hearts by looking at the posters that he did from our childhoods.
Now, let's take off our hats and pay the respect of the late Drew Struzan, who died of Alzheimer's disease.
For the first time in forever, there'll be music.
Hello? Yeah, this is him speaking. What's that? You're gonna do the poster of If Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken is produced by Ambilmation? Okay. Do you know how long it'll take? 12 seconds? Okay, cool. Well, thanks for the heads up. Bye-bye. Wow, that's really awesome!
While throwing both my own ideas and my own concepts for if Ambilmation did Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken might be one thing, seeing Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken executive produced by Steven Spielberg in an alternate timeline might have some great promises to all Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken fans. And in nowadays, it is indeed a shame that Steven Spielberg doesn't executive produce animated movies, animated direct-to-video movies, and animated TV shows anymore after the reboot of both the Animaniacs reboot and that disrespected reboot that should not be mentioned. But it might be interesting to see that a family movie like Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken will be a superhero fantasy movie. It has possibilities in many different ways. Even though that DreamWorks Animation did originate Ambilmation besides the comedy from both The Road to El Dorado and Sinbad Legend of the Seven Seas, and besides from the drama of both The Prince of Egypt and Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron, and besides from the CGI movies from the defunct PDI. When you watch a CGI in-house movie from DreamWorks Animation, it's hard to find similarities if there's going to be an animated movie from the defunct Ambilmation. In my honest opinion, Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken does have similarities from if there's going to be an animated movie from the defunct Ambilmation. Besides from the writing credits of both Sherry Stoner and Dina Oliver, it takes the right team of both designers and animators in Ambilmation to make the story work. It also takes great care, love, and kindness. It's going to make it great. Besides from what I said before, if Steven Spielberg himself ever is going to make a comeback to making family entertainment, he will, maybe, just maybe, someday, executive produce an animated movie based on the character from Animaniacs Minerva Mink as an animated musical for the whole family.
Well, thank you for joining me in this journey through my imagination of what it would be like if Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken is produced by Ambilmation. I hope you guys enjoyed this imagination as much as I do. So, Ruby Gillman fans forever. There's lots more in this wonderful anime world of ours, so be sure to join me on my next animated movie review. Until then, this is the Toon-Man saying, tune you later.